Good morning. Oh, dry throat. Good morning. Hi, cubies and nibbies. I am Sunshine, and this is the ABCube method for solving your Rubik's Cubes. I've been playing with my minks for a while, though. Look at my pretty pattern. I haven't been able to do any patterns with the center yet, because I haven't figured out. I'm still learning. But each one of these corners is in the correct space, but twisted. I used formula A to do that. So doing that gives you a nice, pretty star shape. So there's that, and I love that. Speaking of pretty patterns, I'm going to show you my pattern again. How are you guys doing this morning? Everyone having fun? Okay, this pattern I created it in the 80s. This is called softball, and I have I have never seen it anywhere but what I've done, except for about a week after I first showed you guys on my Twitch. Someone showed it on Facebook, and they had the algorithm to get there, and then they had the reverse of the algorithm to get it back to solved. So they did not realize that how you do it and how you undo it is the exact same way, because it's at a halfway point. You can memorize an algorithm if you want to, and you can do that for any pattern. However, here's how you do it. It's I did not have formula A and B back in the 80s when I created this pattern. I just created it. I just solved the cube into that spot, and then wrote down everything I did as I got my way back to solved. And then I did that algorithm, and I got back to my picture, to my pattern. So that's how I created it. But now you can do it with B, formula B, 7 times formula B, with one setup move in between the formulas. And I will now demonstrate. I usually do it with the white and green. So I do formula B for corners. Slide up, slide up, slide down, slide down. Okay, then I rotate the top 1/4 turn clockwise, and I do formula B again. That undoes that turn, but that's okay. Up, up, down, down, and then I do that, rotate that top again. Okay, so that has these two corners swapped and these two corners swapped. So I go upside down and turn it sideways, and I do formula B. Repeat that. Formula B for these corners. Up, up, down, down. Slide the top. Undo it as part of formula B. Down, down. Slide the top. Okay, so now my corners are set the way I want them. I'm going to do formula B for the edges now, and I'm going to the left. So I want to bring this bottom piece of my cube on the left forward, bottom forward on the left, and then I do formula B for centers. Up, for edges, up, down, down. I lower my bead back down. Okay, now I put my finger on the back piece here, because I'm going to do the upside down and sideways again. And that piece, then the piece on the back came to the bottom. I'm going to bring that to the forward. Do formula B 2 more times. Up, up, down, down. No twist this time. Up, up, down, down, and then lower my left. And what you have, I call it softball because in my mind, it looks like you've got 2 pieces of cloth that are fit together like a bow. So we've got the orange, red, and yellow piece of cloth, and we've got the blue, green, white piece of cloth. And from the side, it looks just like stripes. But you can't just solve it that way. So it does not. You cannot. It's you have to just undo the pattern. You have to do the pattern again to get it back to solve without solving it. So I used to play with this. I would get it in this position, and then I'd put it behind my back, and I'd do the long memorized algorithm, and it looked like I was solving it behind my back, which blindfold was not a thing at the time, and I don't know how to do blindfold. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna undo it the same way I did it. Okay, so it's gonna be formula B for corners, slide the top, formula B for corners, slide the top, upside down and sideways, formula B for corners, slide the top, formula B for corners, slide the top. Left bottom forward, B for edges, left bottom down, upside down and sideways, left bottom up, B for corners, B for edges, and then left down. So I'm going to do that. Slide up, slide down, rotate the top, formula B again, up, down, rotate the top, upside down and sideways, formula B for corners, up, down, slide the top, again formula B, slide the top, left bottom forward, B for edges, up, down, left, down, upside down and sideways, left forward, B for edges twice more, up, down, up, down, and lower the left. So that's my that's my contribution to cube art. All right, let's see who's here. Good morning, you guys. Hope you guys do you have a fun day planned? Here's my pretty pattern for my minks. It is nothing. All it is formula A on the corners to twist them. Every corner's in the correct place, but it's twisted. So, all right. So back to solving the cube. All right. Formula A, formula B. Where's my... Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Formula A is used to bring a piece to the top, and I usually use it on the corners and the absolute center. The absolute center, it's one row, one column. If you're working after the center, if you want to move the center, then this is the row, and this is the column. If you want to move the corners, then it's the bottom row and the right corner, bottom row, right column. So out, down, in, up, and these two pieces switched, and more things happen down below. Out, down, in, up, puts it back again. I'm only paying attention to the top row because as long as I work in a multiple of 6, the bottom row will reset itself. So there's that. I can rotate if I want to. I can twist the top during this if I want to affect the corners. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6. And multiple of 6, that's at the top. Multiple of 6 means that the bottom hasn't changed, the bottom resets itself, because doing it 3 times, doing it 6 times goes back to start. So if I had the corners twisted and wanted to untwist them, then I would do formula A until the QB is correct. 3, 4, slide it, finish the 6, 5, 6, set the top, and check it out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So set the top. So A brings a piece to the top and can twist the corners on top if you want them to. And it will bring the absolute center to the top as well. So B does everything else. Formula B is the top row, 2 columns, and you'll notice if you look at it, it's a mathematical 0. For every left there's a right, for every up there's a down. So when you do Formula B, you're only affecting the pieces that you want to affect, which is 3. So it doesn't matter which order you solve the cube, because when it's with algorithms, not only do you have to memorize memorize the algorithm, you have to memorize what that algorithm does, because one does clockwise, one does counterclockwise, one does opposite, one does and then you also have to memorize which order to do the algorithms, because this one that works on these types of pieces will mess up the other types of pieces, and you have to reset them, etc., and so forth. B does everything, and it only affects the 3 pieces you want to affect, so it doesn't matter. The only exception to that, which is not really an exception to that, is the move to undo a parity. Parity is where it looks like you've got 2 pieces and only 2 pieces that need to switch, and everything else is solved. Well, that's a lie. Parities are a lie. If the pieces were in the correct space, if the other pieces were in the correct space, the parity wouldn't exist. There's always 3 pieces that are out of place, if there are any pieces out of place, 3 or more. So if you only see 2 pieces, the third piece that you don't see is the piece that you don't see. It's the middle, it's the row that parity exists on. So if you make a quarter turn of the row that the parity exists on, and then solve from that state, the parity is dissolved. It's not there anymore. You don't have to use the parity algorithm at the end, because if you work from the outside in, as the parity shows up, just a quarter turn, and you don't have to fix the parity at the end, because it's it's already done. And people say, well, but the parity only takes 4 seconds. Well, that's true, but how long should it take to make a quarter turn? And if you make that quarter turn, that quarter turn for the parity is going to alter what your centers are like. So if you've done the centers first, you're going to have to reset the centers. However, if, like me, you do the centers last, that quarter turn doesn't do any damage, because you haven't set the centers yet. So A and B solves every size Rubik's Cube, and it does it all the exact same way. And once you've learned this method, you can solve. You have the confidence to pick up any piece in any state of scramble and put it down solved, which is a lot of fun, because a lot of people cube's been around long enough that we've been cubing, and then we take a break from it for a few years or a decade or so, and then we come back to it, and it's like, oh, I've forgotten that algorithm. I don't remember how to do that last piece. I don't remember how to do that last piece. I've forgotten. And then if you've learned this method, you can pick it up, solve the last pieces that they've forgotten how to do. And it blows their mind, because they think that everybody assumes that everyone else is like them. So they think that you spent all of those hours and months learning, or your non-cuber friends, but all those hours and months learning and memorizing and doing all these things. So not only did you learn everything that they know, because you can do the cube, but you also remembered everything that they forgot. And so they're like, wow, they think that you're more awesome than you are. You are awesome, but they think you're more awesome than you are. So that's the cube. That's why it's fun for me. I will demonstrate. I demonstrate what A does. Let's demonstrate what B does. Okay, outside columns for outside. I demonstrated what B does on the cube. So let's look at it more closely to get my. Okay, so up, down, and it moves 3 pieces around. Those pieces are corners, and you don't really have to remember that it goes clockwise instead of counterclockwise, because instead of looking at the cube long enough to determine whether it needs clockwise or counterclockwise, you can just do Formula B, and if it solves it, you move on to the next step, and if it doesn't solve it, you know that one more B will solve it, because 3 goes back to start. So in my opinion, for me, it's easier to do it once or twice than to take the time to figure out which way is it supposed to go. So, but then I'm not a speed cuber. Or rather, as a speed cuber, red dot on my face because of this microphone. As a SpeedCuber, I can solve the 3x3 in about a minute and a half. So that is not SpeedCuber speed, but it depends on how you define a SpeedCuber. So this is not a speed solving method. This is not fast. And this is not the fewest moves method, because like I said, you can, it's easier to just do the formula twice than to look and see whether it needs left or right. And of course, this can be consolidated. By just using mirrors and parallels. But with A and B method, I can do a minute and a half. So formula B for outside columns works corners. If you work an outside column and an inside column, slide up, slide down, it moves 3 edges. Okay, and you don't have to memorize which 2 columns do which things. You just have to pick the piece that you want to move, figure out where it's going, and then where it wants to land is your first column, and where it is to begin with is your second column. So slide up, slide down, and that's again 3 times of doing it will get you back to your start, whatever your start was. So again, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. If you want to move a centerpiece, it's still top row 2 columns, but whichever piece you want to move, you select the piece that you want to move. Using the top row and 2 columns, one of the columns again are where it began and where it is going to end up. So we select the piece, we line up the top, so that's advantageous. That's the top row, and then we go up, slide to a different column. Now on the diagonal centers, you have to pay attention, because if you go this way, it's still in the same column, and that doesn't work. You have to slide it to a different column. For the oblique ones, it doesn't matter. And then so back it up. Slide the top to set it up. First column, slide to a second, slide to the top again. Second column is where that landed, and then you reverse. And because you've done your edges, they're here to keep on track of you. So that you don't get distracted halfway through and think, which direction was I going? I think it was this way. No, the edges are there to keep you honest. And back down again. Set the top, and it looks like we've moved 2 pieces, which is one of the reasons why parodies are believable. But you're not moving 2 pieces, you're moving 3 pieces. 2 of the pieces are the same color, so you can't tell that they moved. Just like for the third piece for the parody, the third piece is the piece that you can't see. So line it up, first column up, slide to a second column up, and then reverse down, reverse down. So it's the same formula. It's still slide up, slide down, and the cube that you want to move determines which those columns are. So you don't, there's the only memorizing is the 4 moves and the 8 moves, and since that's all you do over and over again, it becomes muscle memory. Whoops, sorry camera. Becomes muscle memory really quickly. And instead of, when I'm teaching this in real life or online or over the phone, and I do that, it takes me, for a non-cuber, just someone, oh, my brother has one, he can solve it, and he tried to teach me, but I could never, whatever the story is. It usually takes me, just the A and B method, between an hour and a half and 2 hours total teach time, and then they leave knowing they can solve this one. So let's solve this one. I have been in the habit of just breaking the solve down during the weekdays and doing the corners on Monday and the edges on Tuesday and the blah blah blah. But I didn't do that this week because I've been playing with other toys. So the corners are correct. The first thing to check is the first thing to do is the corners, and these corners I've already done. These corners are correct to one another. So we're going to proceed from there. The since I would do the yellow and white first, I use that pair of colors, pair of sides, in the rest of the solve. So I hold my cube so that yellow and white are left and right, as dictated by the corners. So, and then I find a piece. I just look for a piece in the middle, somewhere, anywhere between the corners, anywhere in the middle area, and that has a white or a yellow on it. Okay, this one has a white or a yellow on it, but I want the color to be on top. So if I use this one, I've got to flip the cube to make it on top. So before I flip the cube, let me work on this yellow piece because it's already on top. So yellow and white are left and right. I find a piece in the middle that has my yellow or white color. It's on the top. I move the corners together so that the corners match the front color. And then I determine which direction it's going because this is blue and yellow, so it's going to go between the blue and yellow and something corners. So it's not, this is the white direction, this is the yellow direction. Okay, so to go in the left direction, it's the top row in 2 columns. The first column is where it's going to end, the second column is where it began. So to go on the left, if it's going to the left, this left side is your first up, and where the cube is your second up. So away from the action, left up, move back into the front, and then we move the second column up, which is where the cube was, away, down, and now it's in place, and then back away and down again. And we do that over and over and over again for as long as there is a yellow or white in the middle area. Just keep yellow and white left and right. Select a piece, line up the corners to match the front, determine its direction, and to go in the right to the right side, the right is your first up. This is your first column, this is your second column. You're only ever using 2 columns. And it's going in this direction, so we start by moving it away. First up, back, second up, reverse, which puts it over, down, back, down. So you notice of looking at B, every other move is horizontal. Every other horizontal is the reverse of the one before it, and the 2 columns, we go up, and then down and down. So it's a commutator, or a mathematical 0. So these ones have to flip, but over here I can have one that I can do without flipping. So we can do that first. This is the piece I've selected. I bring the corners to match the front. Yellow and white are left and right. And I decide that it's going in the right position, right direction. So I move it away from the action. First up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. This cube is placed, and I'm just placing them one at a time. I'm not searching for my edges and finding their pairs and pairing them up and then placing them. That, to me, that seems like a double solve. You solve this to make it look like, you solve it this way to make it look like a 3x3, and then you solve the 3x3 the way you already know. Rather than do that, I just pick a piece, and instead of looking for its mate, I just place it where it wants to go, and the mate will find itself as I place them one at a time. So white's on top, yellow and white are left and right, colors on top, corners match the front, and it's going in the white direction, so away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. And what I'm doing, I'm placing the opposite edges, so the yellow and white edges. Here's another piece. Okay, yellow and white are left and right. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the white direction, so away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. if the color is on front, like so, yellow or white is, then we just flip the cube. Yellow and white are still left and right, and then we work with that one. Getting the corners to match the front. It's going in the yellow direction, which is this way, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And again, I think I did the wrong line there, but it doesn't matter because I can move them all. I'm only keeping only the left and only the opposite edges matter right now. So, if you have any questions or comments, put it in chat. I love to dialogue more than I love to dialogue more than I love to monologue, and I love to teach more than I love to demonstrate. But this is my passion. Cubes are fun for me, and there's nothing more fun than watching somebody who thought they couldn't do it, who thought that it was beyond their scope, suddenly realize that the cube responds the way it's supposed to respond in a predictable pattern, and these formulas move the pieces that you want to move, and to have their eyes light up and realize that they've just mastered a skill. I'm not just teaching cubing. I'm teaching confidence. I'm teaching life lessons. So it's fun for me. But speaking of fun for me, this seems to be a good pausing place. I'm going to go feed my face, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Go be nice to yourself and make pretty patterns. Look for beautiful things around you. You will find them. I'll be back here tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day, and be nice to yourself. Bye.